everyone. It's 4 o'clock. Let's get started. We're at the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority Board of Directors meeting. It's Monday, April 8th, 2024 at 4 o'clock. And we're in the Carson City Community Center Robert Bob Kroll Board Room. Can I get a roll call, Linda?
Yes, Mike Jones,
Here?
Bobby Rader, Kitty McKay.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Right, if I could ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll move on to item 4. At this time, I'll ask for any public comment.
Hi, Denny French, Carson City, Nevada, and I appreciate the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority. Now, when I went to look it up, it said commission, so I was a little lost for a minute today. But I want to say meetings have been pretty tough for me, a lot of tough material in them and such, and I was just so tickled by these representations of advertising. And I love the Mark Twain Day advertisement and illustration. This one just tickled me and has me a bit puzzled. I'm sure I'm missing something as far as how to relate to it, but it tickles me so much, it has me looking at it very closely. So I think you caught my attention on this one very much. So, and I just want to thank you and sit back and listen. There's a lot to listen to. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 5, approval of the minutes of the March 11th, 2024 CTA board meeting. Any changes? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would any member of the public like any item pulled for individual discussion? Any member of the board like any item pulled for individual discussion? If that, I could get a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. This takes us up to item 9 for possible action, discussion of the direction. Possible discussion and possible action or direction to staff regarding the proposed CTA fiscal year 2025 tentative budget. Chris, I think you're going to lead us through this high level, and the board can ask any questions and any concerns.
Chris Kipp, Operations and Finance Manager. So we're just going to run through the tentative budget for fiscal 25. Page 2 of 15 in here is the cover sheet. It's just showing this is our tentative budget. It's been submitted to taxation. We just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to make any changes if necessary. So this budget contains 3 governmental funds with the estimated expenditures of $3,210,224.
Chris, can I stop you just 1 second? I'd like the record to reflect that board member Giomi has joined the meeting. Stacy, can you hear us? Stacy? Can you hear us, Stacy? We just can't hear you. Yeah. Chris, if you continue
Go ahead. Okay.
while we're working through.
You hear me now? Yes?
Okay, so,
Can you
I'm re-
guys hear me?
Stacy, this is Dave. Yes, we can now, and we can see you.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys.
No, no,
Thank you.
no,
That's
no
okay.
worries.
so, there's really nothing new in the first few pages, so I thought we could just go right to page 6, because you'll be able to see what we've done in the past and what we're doing now. So it's page 7 of 15, which is page 6, Schedule B8. So the first column is where we ended up in June of '23. The second column is where we ended up in, well, we're planning on ending up fiscal '24. And then the third year is what we have tentative approved. So this is where we're making the changes for fiscal '25. You'll see the intergovernmental revenue went up quite a bit. The reason for that is there's 250,000 coming in from Travel Nevada for the 3D Cultural Corridor project. So that's why there's a big jump there. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot of difference in what we're doing. The revenue, we are kind of predicting that it's not going to come in quite as high as it has been in the past. And then the beginning fund balance of $2,664,442 is what we're projecting our ending fund balance for '24 to be. And then on the next page, we can see the expenditures by function. Same thing with the columns. So in column 3, this is what we're budgeting for '25. There is a bit of a jump in the general government total for services and supplies because we put money in for the lodging property audits as you requested, Stacy. And then we will have additional in the services and supplies for culture and rec because we have the 250,000 additional expenditures that we'll have to go with that culture corridor. And the revenue and the expenses will balance. It's not a match like our normal grants. Let's see, and then the following pages just kind of carry it out like we do every year, so I'm not going to go through that unless you guys have questions. So on page 10 of 15, which is page 9, Schedule B14, this one is for the V&T Capital Projects Fund. This fund is, we've been bringing this fund down, so there's not a lot more, we're not going to have as much interest as we usually do in there. And this one, we transfer out the incoming revenue into the marketing to Inherently Advantage for the V&T train. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of difference there. In the past, we've had money set aside for projects there. We don't have any projects budgeted for this year, so you won't see anything in the expenditures for that one. The next page is Capital Projects Fund. So this one's the 2% room tax coming in, the interest, because it's got a bit more money because we didn't have a full bond payment this year. We only had the interest payment for the new bond that we just had. And so there's a bit more beginning fund balance there. And then our new bond payment for this year will be $384,950, and our ending fund balance will come out about $1,154,000. And those are kind of the highlights of the thing. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I know how exciting this stuff is, so.
Questions from the board?
All right, thank you.
If there are no questions, if I can get a motion.
I'll move to approve the proposed CTA fiscal year 2025 tentative budget as discussed.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That'll move us along to item 10, monthly non-action items, presentation and discussion only. David, you want to take it from here?
Thank you, Chair Jones. For the record, David Peterson, Executive Director with Visit Carson City. I just want to extend my thanks to Chris for a great job on the budget and to the team for accelerating putting their program budgets together. So I'm very happy with the budget as it was presented to you all today. Tentative, of course. I think we've got a great program scheduled for next year. So good work, team.
And pardon me, I should have recognized Chris and her team, which is Chris.
Yeah, she's a team of three, me, myself, and I, she always
You know,
says.
we kind of rushed the schedule a little bit this year, put you under the gun, but these are always important and they take a lot of time and energy. So thank you.
For sure. All right, 3 quick updates for the board. We are currently working through some grants, 6 projects totaling $43,607 from Travel Nevada's Fiscal 25 Rural Marketing Grant Program. As a reminder, this is the second year where it's an annual cycle, so we don't get to apply second, shot bite at the apple, I guess, during the year. It's one and done for the whole fiscal year. We've got 3 co-ops included, Expedia, Travel Zoo, and Travel Spike. We also are hoping to secure some funding for a media asset gallery project, in addition to continuing our Datafy, our analytics platform that you're all familiar with, and then booth and delegate registration costs for IPW for calendar 25 as well. So I want to thank Lydia for pulling this together. She's been working on this for the past, month and a half or so with the new application components for fiscal 25. Some things have changed up, and so it's been quite a process to go through. So I have an update for the board on the room tax policy front. So Chris and I met with DA Reese with Todd on the 21st, went through the draft that we had ready last month, and we discussed some edits to bring back to the board, looking to shorten the current policy, remove some quotations of the code and statute, and then update and clarify procedures as they specifically relate to appeals and the review of taxing decisions. So we hope to have the next draft back from the DA's office next week if all goes according to plan. And then we're going to work with the chair to review that draft and bring it back to the May or June board meeting, just depending on where we settle on certain things on that. So quick update on room tax policies. And then this week is Travel Nevada's Rural Roundup Conference taking place in South Lake Tahoe. So the team will be up there. We've got a table, a booth. So we'll be representing Carson City pretty well with all of our peers throughout the state of Nevada. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So that is my brief update. Any questions on anything? Okay, lovely, thank you. With that, we'll move on to 10B, transient occupancy tax actual versus forecast. Big sheet in your packet. February, as you can tell, was worse than even I had thought it was going to be. We're projected to be down about 21.5%. After some discussion with the chair and some of the other properties. I took March down as much as that hurt as well, projecting to be a negative 15% decline year over year for March. And then April, May, and June, the negative 3.91%. Took a look at the average decrease for the first 7 months of actuals, July through January, and we just used that monthly negative to project out April, May, and June. So at this point, we are projecting to be about 1.75% down relative to the budget that we established in May. And on a year-over-year basis, we'd be down just a tick over 5% as compared to fiscal 23. So that's the far right column, those last 2 numbers. And I'm happy to address any questions that the board may have about the room tax projections.
So you backed out, you didn't use January's 24?
Chair, I did only because that was an actual number. So I did include the January number in that. Yeah, I took the first 7 months of actual, but not February because we're still waiting on a couple of returns to come in. So the negative 3.91, to be precise, was the average of the first 7 months of the fiscal year, July through January.
Okay.
Any questions on the room tax front? Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to move on to 10C, Arts and Culture Update. Mr. Brooks, take it away. Now you get the fun stuff. Got the numbers out of the way, Eric.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Eric Brooks, Arts and Culture Program Manager for Visit Carson City. We are going to be talking about the Igniting Spirit of Mongolia, Cinco de Mayo, and the second annual Mark Twain Days. So this picture doesn't do justice, and any way I can explain it will also not do it justice. This is a completely new form of American art. Turo is how you pronounce S-T-U-R-O. His name is quite a bit longer than that, so he just goes by Turo. He's a fascinating individual. He's won the highest honors that you can possibly win from his home country of Mongolia. He and his wife relocated to America a few years ago, and they've been in, well, about 10 years ago, and they've been in Reno for a few years. So this paper is a fragile, simple material, and scissors an aggressive tool. Turo creates bizarre and wonderful stories that bring the audience to far-off worlds. So it was very traditional. Instead of writing down stories, they would pass them down verbally, or they would cut them into felt or paper to tell the stories. So it's a very long history of a folkloric communication, and he's created this whole new world of how to look at a story. And I'm just going to invite you to come down on Saturday to fully experience it. From 2 to 4 will be the reception. Some of these pieces have more than 10,000 cuts, and these are all done. So the figure in the poster there is black and white. So that black is actually a special kind of paper. And then he uses these special scissors to cut out everything that is white. And this is a very mild one. Some of these pieces are 4 feet by 4 feet with 10,000 cuts. So it's amazing that not only he can do this, but the paper doesn't tear, all these other things. He's also a sculptor, and we have 2 large-scale sculptures outside of Brewery Arts right now. They have both been at Burning Man last year and 2 years ago, and they will both be activated during the reception, and we'll also have performance from the Mongolian Contortionist Center in San Francisco. So contortionist music, some amazing food, and you'll get a chance to see a live demonstration of his paper cutting at Brewery Arts 2 to 4.
Eric, if I could stop you for a second. Linda, I'd like the record to reflect that Board Member Both has joined the meeting. Thank you.
And if for some reason you can't make it on Saturday to the reception, he'll be doing a secondary demonstration during Mark Twain Days. So we're lucky to have him twice. So up and coming, the Cinco de Mayo celebration. We talked a little bit about this last month. It's moving forward. We'll have 3 fantastic days. Friday with lots of tacos at Fuji Park. Saturday, a free performance of the Ballet Folklore Corps International de Reno y Danza Aztlán. It's a 60-minute presentation touring you through the country of Mexico, state by state, with different dance, costume, and musical routines. And this is free and open to the public. It's a collaboration with Carson City Parks and Rec and Brewery Arts Center. And this will be the first of many years to come with this celebration. And as a side note, why you might be wondering, why is this event important to America? So the Cinco de Mayo is a celebration of when the Mexican army defeated the French. And this was important because the French were going to begin trading with the South during the Civil War, giving guns for cotton. So it was a nice celebration in Mexico to have the French and subsequently the South be defeated. And then we'll have the full day of festivities at Brewery Arts Center with kids' activities, food, dance, live music, live painting, and another performance free and open to the public from the dance team. So invite all your friends out to that. The big thing coming up, the second annual Mark Twain Days. Did everybody get a chance to spend a little time last year in Mark Twain Days? I hope so. After seeing and going through some of the notes of how that event happened, Brewery Arts was happy to become the presenting organization for Mark Twain Days. We have a big team that started working on this. A lot of members from the community, people who worked on it last year, primarily myself and Spike McGuire. Bobby was in on some of those meetings last year, right? Yeah. So we thought, how can we make this event bigger? How can we build a foundation to really make the event grow, not just geographically around the city, but in a way that's going to be a big draw for people to come and spend more than one night? And we figured that with Mark Twain, we can use his fame as an author to make this into an overarching literary event, with Mark Twain being an umbrella. So not everything will have a direct correlation to Mark Twain, but we're opening it up to all sorts of different ideas and performers. When we started looking at what they did last year, we wanted to expand it as much as possible into year 2 and looking at it with a 5-year plan. So this year 2, we thought we'll go really heavy literary. Year 3, we're going to go really heavy into music and have the music and the literary components at that point. So last year they did 2 literary workshops, community workshops, and so we were really hoping that we'd be able to get up to 12 this year. And we're at about 40 right now. And we were able to do this by opening up a lot of new partnerships. So we have Western Nevada College, the Senior Center, which already has a regular monthly literary event that's well attended, 30 to 40 people every month. And of course, the Brewery Arts Campus, the Downtown Business Association, the Historical Nevada Prison, the V&T, Oglesholm Pottery, the Capitol Building, the White House, Nashville Social Club, the Ghost Walk, Foreman Roberts House, the Community Center. So we really wanted to get out there and be in the community as much as possible and let those organizations that do things so well do the work and reap the rewards. So Nashville Social Club is a great example of how that happened, and I'm not bringing it up just because Kitty's up here on the board. But Nashville Social Club was talking with Deborah last year about how they could be a bigger part of this event. And so with Spike's connection, Spike McGuire from Brewery Arts, his connection in the music world, talking with John, who has a huge connection in the music world, let's get some big names for this first new year of Mark Twain Days. So we have Riders in the Sky, which are a huge draw. They're going to be here Friday night, and Coco Montoya will be here Saturday night. And then we'll also have local and regional musicians performing at the White House and Brewery Arts Center. So lots of new music that way. So some of the big things going on, the Bowtie Ball, the Twain Train, the Carson City Ghost Tours, and then I apologize for the spreadsheet the way it is, but at the time we didn't have anything better. It's all been formatted into the newspaper program now. 12 pages last year, 24 pages this year, with lots of content from the writers that will be performing. So just to go through real quick, Mark Twain medallion minting, they did that last year, they're gonna do it again. We've got a traveling exhibition from the Nevada Arts Council, Historical Society doing tours, and we won't go through all of these, but I'll highlight a couple of the big ones. Brewery Arts Center on Friday, Mark Twain's influence on African Americans in society. It's one I'm really looking forward to listening to, and that's going to be by Michael Smith, who's on the Cultural Commission. Don Cool, Your Life is a Story, will be at the Senior Center. If you haven't met Don yet, he is a character, super fun to listen to. Dr. Amy up at WNC is going to be doing a hands-on workshop, and they'll actually be binding books during that workshop. And the way this breaks down, everything in blue is going to be taking place in Virginia City. And that's the other really big thing that we wanted to do this year, was to include Virginia City, because Mark Twain did have such a huge impact there. And with what we're doing with the Cultural Corridor and other partnerships, we thought we really need to have Virginia City be a co-partner with this. And so they and their team have arranged for nearly 40 events over those 3 days. And the big thing is the Territorial Enterprise Museum will be reopening. So that's super exciting. So everything in blue is taking place in Virginia City. Neil Simon's Fools is a fun play, and that's a little bit of a connection because Neil Simon won the Mark Twain Award for Humor from the Kennedy Center a few years ago. So there's a little connection there. And then, of course, Saturday, lots and lots and lots of things. It is also Mother's Day weekend, so the programming on Sunday will be catered specifically for that. And Saturday, we're very happy to announce that all the museums are having free admission that day. So the Railroad Museum, they'll be doing free tours at the Capitol, the Nevada State Museum, who are also hosting several other events, and the Children's Museum will all be free to the public. A couple of other big things on Saturday. The Rare Book and Author Fair is going to be super, super fun. So we've arranged with about 20 local authors to be selling their books, doing some readings and signings. And along with that, we have a vendor out of Reno who's been collecting and selling rare books. So these are the books that have cost hundreds or thousands of dollars with the really ornate covers and artwork in them. So that'll be really fun for people to come be able to see some of those treasures. We also have Make Your Own Calaveras Frog at Ogre's Home. They did a workshop very similar to this during the mural festival with over 200 people participating, and we're expecting to have over 300 participations this year. The two big literary events on Saturday, Gail Marie Pallmeyer, who was the outgoing poet laureate for Nevada, the first poet laureate of Nevada. We're hoping that the new one will be announced by the governor before this event, and we have a slot reserved for them. And then the Spoken Views Collective, which is going to be hosted by Jesse James Ziegler, who is the current Reno Poet Laureate, and he'll also be emceeing a short event at the Performance Hall at Brewery Arts. So we have 10 half-hour slots on Saturday, and we'll be having spoken word, performance, poetry, readings, and film for those shorts. So those are some highlights. McAvoy Lane will be back. He's coming out of retirement for a couple fun things. The Free Museum Day we talked about. The DBA has jumped in and doing some great things with 2 events, both the scavenger hunt and the passport. So that's a lot to go through in a little amount of time. And I still have a full page of notes on things that are happening as well during that event, but I'd love to open it up for questions, and you're welcome to contact me after this or via email or phone if you have questions coming up. The estimated arrival for those newspapers is 10 days. So as soon as those, we're getting 5,000 of them, and as soon as those come out, they will be distributed all over the region. And we're getting lots of good coverage, free media from Reno and Carson. And then Spike's doing a larger ad buy than they did last year, and he's reaching into specific communities where we were able to go through the Datafy information, see what areas had the biggest draw last year, and then we're focusing the advertising in those same areas this year.
Questions, excuse me, questions for Eric?
All right, thank you very
I
much. We'll have a,
just have to say, great job, Eric. When I look at the number of events, and I looked at the number of events that we had last year, I mean, 4 times, probably, in the coordination of local businesses, working with the museums, Virginia City, the BAC, and I know you giving all the credit to those people, but your organizational skills and bringing all this together, I think, you know, the growth what we're going to see from the first year is just fantastic. And that doesn't happen without a lot of work.
well, thank you. And I did forget to mention that Lydia has been a huge, huge help on this event as well. And it wouldn't be where it is without her. So it really shows, thank you for saying those words, but really my first experience working with this team on the other side for the murals is what made me want to work with this team. And this event has been a lot of fun, and seeing how everyone's been able to pitch in, not just our team, but the whole BAC team and NSM team, everybody. It's just everyone asking, what can I do to help this out? And it's made it really easy and fun this year compared to what I heard last year was a little rough at times with a lot more pressure on individuals instead of having a bigger team. So thank you very much. We're excited to have all of you. Stacy, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Eric, is it posted on our website as well as the newspaper?
Yeah, so the website's been live for a week. The majority of the ticket links are already there. We're waiting on a few things for organizations that don't have ticket links. Brewery Arts is going to be taking care of their ticketing. All the big events, the bow tie ball, the train, those are the 2 biggest events. Those tickets have been live for a week. And then a lot of the little, and most of the literary ones where you see it says ticketed on it, those are primarily $5 tickets. And we've found in the past that saying free to the public, you either have way too many people or you have people who want to come but they end up not showing up. So that $5 is just kind of a reserve fee, and it's more likely for people to follow up on attending those. And some of those workshops are, I mean, the value would be $50 to $100 per ticket, and we've been able to get them down to $5 to $10 a ticket. And those are usually smaller workshops, 12 to 20 people.
Great. And when did you say the newspapers would be here? Would they meet in time for our next Board of Supervisors meeting? I'd love to get a few of those at the meeting there in the back room, which is a week from Thursday.
It's a possibility. They told us 7 to 10 days, business days, and we're doing the final edits. Actually, they're doing them right now. There were two ads that had to get changed a little bit. So those should be going to print tomorrow morning. And some people are saying it'll take closer to 5 days, but the actual company says 7 to 10 business days. So I'll make sure
Just
to,
keep
as
it
soon as they
moving.
come, even if we miss the BOS, we can bring some to City Hall and make sure that they're available for people coming in and out as well as for employees.
Great, thank you very much. And again, thanks for your efforts on this. It's quite a weekend in store.
Well done, sir. Good job, team. Yeah. I love the collaboration between all of these different state, local, entities along with private business. I think this is just coming together very nicely. So you've raised the bar quite high for year 2. So well done, sir. Well done. All right, let's move on to 10. Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Bobby. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Is there any update on the cultural corridor?
No.
Thank you.
Well, can I just say at this point, we are waiting on the consultants who work for Travel Nevada to deliver a draft of the 10-year destination development plan, at which time Eric will convene the core steering committee members to go through that plan and collectively provide feedback that we will then provide to those vendors that have been hired by Travel Nevada for their consideration of our requested edits to said plan. That's literally where we're at right now, Bobby. So
Thank you.
yes, hopefully we meet on the 20th of May. So whether or not we actually have the plan done by then, I'm still not sure, to be honest with you. I'm hoping end of May or early June, only because we have to write our grant and submit that by June 30th at the very latest. But that's sort of an update of where we're at right now. So, all right. With that, let's move on to 10D, events and sales updates. Stu, take it away, sir, please.
Stu Wexler, Visit Carson City. Just going to go over the outline of what you all received in your packet, and that's the one sheet and the flapper that we have. These are pieces that Lydia and I, she works with, she has one for the media, I have one for the groups. These are the brochures I'll be taking to my shows like IPW when I go in May. So you all have one. The flapper is by far the most popular. People just go, they're so fascinated by watching that, how you can work it, and just shows the different parts of what we have here in Carson City. So it's really a great piece. Back in a couple months ago, there was the ABA, and they did in their magazine called Destinations, we did an article. I put the link so it goes right directly to that article. It talks about Carson City, the history, and in talking to the publisher, there is 10,000 subscribers to this magazine in the ABA community. And then there's actually more on the digital media side of this. So you all have it, and you have the link. It did a really nice piece on what we have here in Carson City, what we offer. And the music behind it was obviously Here Comes the Sun. So because of the amount of sunshine we have during the year here, compared to other areas of the country that don't see the sun that we do. So that's pretty impressive. This weekend, Eric has his arts and culture. I have the cage fighting. That's going to be happening at the MAC. I haven't had an update yet, but they're looking at probably like about 500 spectators. They're hoping to come in, possibly 800. So they're capping it at 8, but the goal is that. So we're looking at about 500 people coming in from Southern Oregon, Vegas areas, Northern California. So, and the goal is for this to be probably 2 events per year. Matt Phillips, who owns Arena Wars, takes this all over the country and it's very popular, very big down in Vegas, obviously. So this is the first one that's going to be in Carson City, and we had an NPR meeting, you know, all major project review. So everybody's on because of the nature of the event with EMT. We wanted to make sure everybody is safe, but it should be fun, and I think it would be pretty popular for Carson. Any questions on that?
Local fighters or?
There will be some local fighters from Reno. There's also fighters from the Vegas area. There's fighters coming from all over Southern California, Northern California, and Oregon. So probably I don't know how many fighters at this point, but they're coming from all over the West, and then eventually what they want to do is bring them in from all over the country to fight. So. I've never been to a cage fighting, but it should be pretty interesting, to say the least. And then in May, I have the IPW, which is in Los Angeles, of all places, no offense. This is early May. They're expecting close to 6,000 people to come to this show, including international. This is probably will be one of the biggest IPWs I've been to so far since I've been here. And these are, I've already had some interest in people, operators, and just international tour operators coming in, showing interest in Carson, wanting to know more about it. I don't have the actual schedule yet. That doesn't come out till the 12th, but I already have about 25 scheduled appointments out of 50 is what you're allowed, so. Any questions? And then just some of the upcoming events that are going to be happening. We do have the 775 Off-Road and Recovery. That's going to be at Mills Park. They already have 250 cars registered for that. They're expecting around 800 spectators to come through the park. This will be educational as well because they do teach you how to probably fix any vehicles that may, when you're off-road, and also any medical issues that come out. They have EMTs, doctors there that'll be showing, you know, if you happen to be pretty isolated and something happens, they'll show you how to take care of the person as much as you can. So, and then we have the Sagebrush Classic. That's the Model A Ford. That's all set up. Right now, they have about 200 Model A Fords registered. That's going to be at Fuji Park over Memorial Weekend. So it's going to be a very, very busy weekend here in Carson City. They're expecting in the area 400 to 500 spectators to come through that time in the park. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Let's do also Pete Setna's gravel grinder, the pay dirt on the 18th, right?
What's that?
Pay dirt gravel grinder, right, is on the 18th.
Yeah,
Yep.
Stetna's pay dirt at Fuji Park will be on the 18th of May as well.
Yeah. Any questions for Stu? Busy, for sure. May's huge right now from an event standpoint.
There's a few
so-
events that are going to be happening that we're finding out around the same dates. So
Yeah.
we need more hotel rooms.
Yeah, because in between, we've got HEMA, the sword fighting, historical sword fighting. We have the next Capital City Gun Club event as well. So that takes place, both of those take place on the weekend of the 18th. So definitely a variety of events coming and a little bit of overlap, which we're going to work with our partners to see if we can spread those out a little bit better in the future. So
Right. And the tournament schedule for all our youth sports at all the fields, Centennial, Livermore, that has been sent out to all the properties. If anyone does want to schedule that, let me know, and I can email you a schedule for that as well.
yeah. Thank you, Stu. Any questions? I know the board did not make mention of your hiding in the picture, dressed up as the little green alien for the IPW backdrop. So that was Stu, and it was a part of a photo shoot for the record. And he will be doing the same thing again down in Southern California for us. So thank you, Stu, for that. Good man. All right. With that, we are going to move on to 10E, Marketing and PR Update. Lydia Beck, take it away.
Thank you, Lydia Beck for the record. Our agenda today is actually pretty light. Our next meeting will have a lot of reporting back from grants and our Datafy ad buys and lots of fun stuff on that. So today's pretty light, and we're going to start with just the update on the one sheet, which you have in your packets. We just updated mostly photos and events and content just to make that more relevant for this year, including updates on the rail bikes and things like that. So that one's pretty straightforward. Our web and paid digital media. This month, we attempted to offset our slower winter months that we've had, and we tapped into some rainy day funds that have significantly upped our spend in March and April, which is where you're really seeing the increasing in performance. So we're testing new landing pages for our hotel booking remarketing campaign, as our Stay in Carson City page isn't really reaching as high as conversion as we'd like. So we're sending them to the home page, which has our booking widget on it, in hopes that that will keep them engaged in the site a little bit longer. And hoping that can really drives those conversions into bookings. With the increase in budget, we also added new campaigns to our paid social, and all of these things have led to a strong increase in ad performance on both the platforms and our website. As far as paid social as well, we're still partnering with Shelby Burns, who is Shelb Says. She's been working with us for the past 3 years now. And she is doing some content around dog-friendly content in Carson City for this month, and her ad has performed really well with over 1,200 clicks. We've boosted that on TikTok and on Instagram. Our top web pages and traffic, this is what you're seeing here. Our ads are working really well. Our people's top interests for the month on the website are what you see here. And you can see that one of those top referrals is actually backpacker.com, which segues really nicely into our public relations campaign and how that came about. So we are very excited to say that the Carson City to Canada Quest has officially launched, and it's been incredibly fun to see this campaign take off. So we're saying that the journey of a lifetime starts with a single step. And if we're lucky,
do you
here
like
it is.
hiking? Want to make $5,000 doing it while taking the journey of a lifetime? Let's go. In honor of the new Cap to Tahoe Trail connecting Nevada's state capital, Carson City, to the Pacific Crest Trail, Visit Carson City is looking to partner with 2 PCT hikers embarking on the journey of a lifetime, connecting Nevada's state capital to the Canadian border. Now, in order to be considered for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, go to the Visit Carson City website, fill out the application form, and send us a 1-minute video showing us why you are the best fit for this journey. You can film this with your phone or a GoPro or any other tools you might need to document the 1,600 plus mile journey and share it with the world.
So thanks to Zach for getting in a waterfall in order to shoot that. Committed to the job, I'll tell you that. He's just so incredible behind the camera and in front of the camera. So we're just really grateful to have him on board. He's really elevated our content and made a great video for the Carson City to Canada Quest. So we really think this is a challenge of a lifetime. So with the new Capital to Tahoe Trail, you can hike from the steps of the Capitol all the way to Canada. And it was Greg Bergeron, the city's trails coordinator, that brought this to life. He says, I really challenged someone to do it when we were doing an interview about when the trail opened. And that's how this really sparked, was let's see who can do it and who's willing to do it. And it's really just sparked a lot of fun. So we've had over 105 applications so far, and our PR around this has been national, and we've even had people from all over the world applying. I would say realistically, a quarter of those applications are probably viable. We got some really serious applications. We asked to send in a 60-second video explaining why you want to do this, why you think you're a good fit, your social channels, because our whole goal of this is to live vicariously through this human, to take us along on the trail. So we need someone who's willing to create that content. We got a lot of applications that just said, I'd be a great fit. And that was it. So we're really looking forward to probably 25 to 30 of those that are pretty serious, and we're really looking forward to reviewing those applications. So the PR highlights for this is we've been featured in the San Francisco Chronicle, CBS Radio in San Francisco, KCRA in Sacramento, the Los Angeles Times, Backpacker, and Yahoo as well. Backpacker was a huge reach for us. The author of that article is a through hiker himself and was just wonderful to chat with. But the best part was they also posted about this on their socials a couple days ago. They have over 560,000 followers and over 8,000 people like that post, and over 200 positive comments went along with that. So it's continuing to gain traction. We're getting new applications every day since we've launched, and we're really excited to see where this takes us. So in addition to the massive quest highlights, we've also had a wonderful article from Find Magazine, coordinated in partnership with the PR team at the Reno Tahoe territory. It's a luxury lifestyle publication, and they featured a story on Carson City alone when they visited here. They did a lot of historical events and great dining as well, and that was a wonderful partnership. So we are excited to see what the RTT continues to bring. Actually had lunch with a journalist today who's doing an article, and he is also a YouTuber, but a journalist and lifestyle blogger as well. He's from New York City, and we're excited to see what comes of that as well. So that's all I have for you for this month, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? for
Maybe I
Lydia?
do.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Thank you. Lydia, on the Capital to Canada Trail, what's the expectation in terms of when you're going to pick and over what period of time people have to complete the route and et cetera, et cetera?
Sure.
I mean, what does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. We have all of it's also very clear in the application process too. So applications will end on May 31st. We will select someone by July, and then they will have that period of time to get set up to do all the permits to get for the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, which is the hardest part. So we actually have 2 people that will be the front runners. They are allowed to bring people with them, but we're only contracting with 2 people. So how they split that money after the fact is up to them. So we tried to streamline the process as much as we can. And then they will begin hiking as soon as the trails are clear. So we're assuming that this is going to happen late spring, early summer of 2025. So we looked into doing it this year, but the permitting applications are so intense and go very quickly that extending this process to 25 gave us a lot more leeway, flexibility, and control over the situation than we would have tried to launch this year and have them hike this year. So we will have backup applicants as well and have them apply for the permits too, in case that the lottery system kicks in and for some reason they can't. But we are finding that because they are hiking from Tahoe north and not from Mexico, then their chances of attaining a permit are higher than most people that are going in for the lottery in Mexico. That's where the most applicants come from. So we feel like we've got pretty good chances, but we've got some backups in place for that.
And it's 5,000 split between 2 people, not 5,000 each.
It's
correct?
5,000 each.
Okay.
So yep, we're
And
giving
are
away
you looking to
10,000.
Are you looking to do 1 male and 1 female? Is that the idea, or just 2 people?
We are open to what that looks like. So I think it just depends on the applications. And we didn't want to limit it too much just in case we weren't really sure how this was going to go or how many through hikers were going to be interested. So we left it flexible, but we are excited to see what's in that pool of applicants and hopefully get the most diverse candidates that we can.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions? I just want to say great work on this. Lydia has been
Thanks.
all over radio and TV and WebEx interviews. She's been tearing it up. So South Korean media coming out of Southern California, you name it. She's been all over the place representing us very well. So great job to Zach on the video and building out the website or microsite for this. I think it looks delightful. So excited to see what we get and make a decision before the end of July. So, all right, if there are no questions, other questions for Lydia, we'll move on to 10F, future agenda items. Anybody have anything they would like to see on the next meeting's agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to 10G. Yes, Thank you, Chris. Yes. So our next meeting, this is just a reminder, it's going to be the regular meeting plus the 2024-2025 budget hearing, and it starts at 1 PM in order, not 4, but 1 PM on Monday, May 20th. So it's a little bit of a change because we're combining the normal meeting in May with a budget hearing, which has to take place in the last 11 days of the month. So 1 PM, Monday, May 20th is when we're set for that particular one. And with that, I'll turn it over to the chair.
Thanks, David. Moves us to item 11, comments or announcements and requests for information. Anything from the board? All right, moving on to item 12, public comment. Any comment?
Denny French, Carson City, Nevada. Thank you for the presentation. I had a question I think Supervisor Giomi asked, but I didn't hear the answer to. What amount of time is set for that trail from Carson to Canada as far as a time limit? Is there if you don't make it, then you're out of it? Or, what's the cutoff? What's the cutoff on it?
There's no set amount of time that we are putting on that person. We're anticipating it'll take 2 to 3 months, but they will be paid when they reach Canada. So we're doing a payment halfway and then also at the end.
And can they go home during that time to do something and then come back to it, or is it a continuance?
Continuous.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, any other public comment? With that, we'll move to item 13, to adjourn, if I can get a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
We're adjourned.